Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we will be big box store plant shopping at Lowe's out in Plano, Texas. As always, please make sure you are hitting the like button for this video, as well as following me on Instagram at Grow Folds. That is the fastest and most direct way to get in touch with me if you have any questions about the plants that I'm featuring in my shopping videos that I do daily. And it is a late afternoon, early evening plant shopping excursion. But before we get into the plants,
I don't know.
Hey guys, so if you've already watched our episode, we both have episodes for PETA's planters, so we go into detail about the plants you have. I'm here with Janae. Steven is not here. Insert picture of Steven for Cultivation Corner.
He didn't skip work for us.
He didn't. I mean, I'm off on Tuesdays on a Tuesday. But if you haven't already seen all of the plants that PETA has, Aglaonemas galore, definitely a need, but she also has a bunch of Alocasias, new philodendron hybrids. What else did you see, Janae?
Oh my goodness. Like even this beautiful philodendron ring of fire, and she has escaletos, y'all. All very reasonable and pet friendly plants
and
as well.
And let's not forget the Scindapsus too. She has some Scindapsus on totems, variegated Scindapsus. Yes. For those that are rare plant finders. Definitely get to PETA's planters. It is in Dallas, Texas. Small business, but it packs a huge impact when it comes to your plant collection. We've been shopping here for a while.
Yes.
I'm addicted. She feeds my plant addiction, and I need help, but it's okay. It's good, right?
It's okay. Yeah.
I just wanted to put a blurb out there, especially for those that are discovering my plant shopping YouTube channel. I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Welcome. My name is Richie. I am also part of the Cultivation Corner Plant Podcast show. We will be premiering season 2, February 18th, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Cultivation Corner YouTube channel. But as you guys can see, I am actually going to this Lowe's location, and you can see that there are quite a bit of plants. So we're going to be looking at some Costa Farms plants, Live Trends plants, and Urban Jungle plants. Those are the main three providers of plants for these big box stores. You already know plant foldies, and for those that have been really following my YouTube channel for the past year and tuning in daily, yes, daily, to the live premiere chats, I really appreciate it. We've grown our community quite far, and it's starting to really take off. And that's with the help of you guys. You know, for those that love plants, for those that love to discuss plants, interact with other plant lovers, go shopping for plants, who have plant addictions, whatever you want to call it. This is definitely the YouTube channel for you. I enjoy making daily plant shopping videos, and I've also started to diversify some of my content, and I've done some unboxing videos. I've done some how-to tutorials for some of the plants. I've been actually converting a lot of my plants to semi-hydro substrates, and I am starting to integrate some of my origami ASMR content into my plant channel. So for those that didn't know, this channel was originally an origami ASMR channel where I did daily origami paper cranes. My goal is to fold 1 million origami paper cranes in my lifetime. I have been folding origami paper cranes every day for about 8 years. So you can only imagine how many paper cranes I have in totes. But that will be another future content when I start to show some of my personal house plants. But as you guys can see right here, plant foldies, you already know I love talking about plants. I love picking up plants. We are going to be looking at some of these urban jungle plants right here. So we're looking at some different types of Alocasias. This one is for $13.98. So a lot of these urban jungle plants are really popping up with a lot of different types of Alocasias. Here's the thing, in my opinion, about Alocasias. Hear me out. They're gorgeous plants. They are becoming even more readily available, different varieties of them. You can find them at Walmart if you go shopping at Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, even Target. The problem with Alocasias is that they're a little bit more of a challenging plant to grow. They require a little bit more humidity. They definitely need a lot of bright indirect light. You have to stay on top of the watering, and unfortunately, they are a little bit more of a plant pest magnet when it comes to spider mites. So, as far as Alocasia, they have beautiful foliage. I wouldn't really discourage anybody from adding them, but I would actually encourage people to kind of skip Alocasia, especially if if you're a beginner and settle for maybe a Sansevieria. And I settle for Sansevieria. When I say settle, doesn't mean that you should settle for it because that's the only plant you can grow. It's really because that plant is going to bring you a lot of joy. I mean, you're looking at this Alocasia here. This is an Alocasia black velvet. Love it, but the problem is with velvety textured Alocasia, or even plants, house plants that are velvety texture, they tend to just require more humidity, and they're definitely spider mite magnets. I don't know what it is about velvety textured plants, but they just tend to be more spider mite magnets. And that's the thing about plant collections. A lot of us want to be able to just pick up plants, go shopping at big box stores, and feel like we can just pick up these plants, set it on a shelf and forget about them. But the problem is that's not how easy plant care can be unless you actually go for more of the easy care plants. I'll recommend a couple of them as we pick up some of the plants today. Like for instance, this one is for $13.98. This is another urban jungle plant, and this one is a ZZ Zenzi plant. So these are ZZ plants. These are probably the easiest house plants you can add into your collection because, as I've said in all of my videos every single day, they are low light tolerant and they are drought tolerant. Those are two characteristics you want to really look at when it comes to plants, is the fact that they actually are low light tolerant. So not all of our households are going to have all of these bright windows. I would assume that most people wouldn't have the best ideal bright conditions for plants. So those are the plants that you want to gravitate to: low light tolerant and drought tolerant. For somebody like me who has a very demanding career, I mean, like I said, again, I work a minimum of 10 hours. It is a very demanding career. It's one that actually feeds my finances, so I'm not complaining about it. I've actually had my job for quite a while, for a good 15 years at this point. And it's one of those things where as I continue to share a little bit more tidbits about me and my personal life, I just kind of reflect back on the fact that it is nice to have a stable job, a job that really keeps me financially stable to the point where I can go splurge on plants. Does that mean that I need to be irresponsible with my finances? No, but I am addicted to plants. Like, that's something that in the Cultivation Corner Plant podcast, I'm hoping that you guys will tune into season 2. We do have season 1 where we only had like 5 episodes that were about 30 minutes each. We did listen to everybody's feedback. It seems like you guys wanted to renew the show. So we have 10 episodes that are a minimum of 45 minutes to an hour long. So it's a little bit longer as far as a podcast, and I really enjoyed it. And there is an episode where we really talk about plant addictions. There are literal plant addictions. And to me, I've always been pretty transparent about how I feel, to the point where sometimes I feel like I am just picking up these plants, but I'm really talking to the plant foldies. I'm really trying to engage with each and every one of you guys and really talking to you guys directly via YouTube, utilizing this social media platform and just giving you my insights, whether it's plant care tips, shopping, a little bit more about me, or just everyday commentary. And the problem is I am going through this plant addiction where I can't stop buying plants. Part of, I guess, getting out of any type of addiction is, number one, recognizing that you have a plant addiction, for instance, and then number 2, finding ways to mitigate it. Like, I really thought about, maybe I should not go to a big box store every day. Maybe I should not put myself in a situation where I'm around plants, where they're accessible, where I can just say, okay, this is $13.98. Let me go ahead and buy a plant. But that's not really a long-term solution for a plant addiction. More so just any addiction. I think it's really finding a way to moderate your cravings, I would suppose. But plants, they're just addicting. And I will ask anybody that is actually tuning into this shopping video today, if you feel like you have a plant addiction where you literally can't stop buying plants, you literally can't stop adding plants to your plant collection. For instance, I'm picking up this Aglaonema Silver Bay, for instance, $19.98. I believe this is a live transplant, and Aglaonema Silver Bay, while it is a common plant, while Aglaonemas are super underrated plants. They're easy to care for, they're low light tolerant, but for some reason, they're not plants that necessarily trend or are popular in the houseplant community. And, you know, it baffles me that we're not talking about it. So I am going to be slightly obnoxious, or maybe I am going to be obnoxious about really trying to popularize Aglaonema. But when I tie it back to a plant addiction, anytime I see an Aglaonema that is not part of my plant collection, I will pick it up, not even think twice about buying it. And so even today's video, while we are going to be looking and picking up plants, I am going to give you some care tips, but a lot of this video is really going to be talking about how much we love plants and how much plants could possibly add negative impact in our lives, in a sense that we may not always be financially responsible. So I don't know, plant foldies, I did want to really reflect on that. And what's interesting is those that really follow this YouTube channel, you know that I can easily give you plant care tips. I can tell you about this philodendron moonlight, but I've really started to think about how do I pivot and keep our viewers interested, because I can go and record plant shopping videos, pick these plants up, give you my plant insights, give you my commentary, but I want to give you a little bit more spice, a little bit more layers when it comes to these plant shopping videos. I did a little bit of research. I started watching even more content creators on YouTube when it comes to the presentation of some of their shopping videos, and I want to try to differentiate myself a little bit, whether that is borderline rambling about things that are not necessarily related to plants. I don't know, plant foldies. I just utilize these plant shopping videos to really engage and just talk to y'all. And I will say, even during the live premiere chat, you guys are amazing. You guys are really just talking it up and chatting with each other about your plant love, the things that you have added into your plant collection, plant care tips. So before I continue to ramble on about some of the content that I want to continue to add to this plant YouTube channel, I did want to touch base on the fact that seasonally, as spring starts to arrive, it is going to be really exciting to go shopping for plants, because more big box stores like Lowe's, for instance, are going to get a lot of plant restocks. A couple of days ago, I went to a really restocked, super full Lowe's. Our community really want to see, or do you want me to continue to pivot on to different types of content besides me going to a Lowe's, a Home Depot, or a Target and picking up plants, giving you the plant pricing, giving you my insights? Do you want a little bit more than that, or is this something that I need to just continue growing and posting? So please leave that in the comment section below. That does kind of intrigue me, because I really do look at the analytics when it comes to the channel, and I've done some social media experiments. One of them would have to be maybe the titles of my video, or the content, or the way we present these shopping videos. It's quite interesting. What I will say is, for those that have left comments, for those that press the thumbs up, and when I say the thumbs up or the like button, it really does help. It's interesting how if we get, like, for instance, 100 likes plus within a 24-hour span after the video has premiered, literally you'll either get 1,000 views or up to 3,000 views within a 48-hour span. And that's interesting, because that way more people are actually getting this type of content. And so I really do encourage y'all. I know that I've been on a bandwagon about really being passionate about asking for your support. So hopefully, plant foldies, you can do that. But okay, let me get off of my little soapbox and plant foldies and start really talking about the plant. So if you've actually made it this far without clicking off, I appreciate it. I know I can, maybe ramble on a little bit, but I don't know. I just feel very comfortable picking up plants and showing y'all. So we're going to be talking about this. Again, Aglaonema Silver Bay. You notice that it's got that beautiful silver foliage. Now, these ones are by Costa Farms. These are the these self-watering planters that they sell at Lowe's for $15.98. And you know, the one thing I would ask Costa Farms, especially this year, can you believe it's actually February? We're almost into the second week of February. This coming week is going to be Valentine's week, and we're already seeing a lot of these plants. But what I would love to see from Costa Farms is actually to see if they can release more Aglaonema. The thing about Aglaonema is they are known as the Chinese evergreen plant. There's many varieties, but unfortunately, at least in the United States, at least in North Dallas, which is where I'm based at, we're only subjected to what Costa Farms can potentially send to the big box stores, which is really the majority of my plant content. But when you start to do your research, like for instance, if you go on Etsy or you go on Instagram and you see some of those Indonesian nurseries that feature Aglaonema, it is a whole new world of colorful plants. And it's interesting because plant foldies, you guys are really coming in full force. I feel like I have plant influenced some of y'all to really take a second glance on Aglaonema. Now, as far as Dieffenbachia, for instance, that one is also for $15.98. I like Dieffenbachia. I really do. You know, my family is originally from the Philippines, and the Philippines is a Southeast Asian country with a lot of humidity, a lot of warm climate. And whenever I went on vacation there last year, I remember seeing Dieffenbachia, and they were just grown as almost like landscape plants. They got massive, they were huge. But you know, growing Dieffenbachia indoors, it's really challenging because they really do require a lot of bright indirect light, and they need higher humidity levels. They tend to be a little bit more spider mite prone, and if you don't give them the right conditions in your home, they tend to get super leggy. Now, this is one of my favorite plants to yell the name Hedera helix, or what you call, the correct way to say it is actually Hedera helix or English ivy. It is a plant foldy staple, and I really hope that I am not scaring any new viewers that have discovered this channel today, for instance, but I mispronounce Hedera helix as Hedera helix, because when I was originally saying it, that was the way I was saying it until a plant foldy actually gave me the correct pronunciation. However, I ended up just keeping up with it because it's really funny. Kathy, especially Kathy, my plant foldy, my super loyal viewer from Canada, you guys count the amount of times I say Hedera helix in a video, but you'll see that Costa Farms has quite a bit of these Hedera helix or English ivy in 8-inch planters. Here's the thing about English ivy, and I've seen other plant content creators talk about it. They are probably one of the most challenging plants to grow indoors alongside with calatheas, because they just tend to get spider mites, and for some reason growing them indoors, they just tend to do that. I also wanted to go highlight Costa Farms. This is a Sansevieria Golden Flame. So this is a beautiful yellow variegated snake plant. And you know, Sansevierias, they are marketed as an easy to care for plant. It's a plant that some people would overlook. They would probably find it common, but these yellow flame Sansevierias have really taken the market, especially when you look at big box stores like Lowe's, Walmart, and Home Depot. Now, Target, for instance, you know, if you love Target, I love Target. They're super classy. They have a lot of plants coming in from Trending Tropicals, Costa Farms. I even see live transplants and even urban jungle plants. So for the spring season, we are going to definitely see quite a bit of plants. I'm super excited to start this this quarter off by going to PlantCon 2025 in Orlando, Florida. That is going to be on the weekend of the 22nd and 23rd of February. Super excited because I will be actually going to Florida, to Orlando, Florida. I've never been to Florida. It's my first time. And when you think about all of these tropical houseplants, these big box stores that carry all of these beautiful houseplants, Florida is the mecca when it comes to tropical plants, at least in the United States. So it'll be really interesting. So if you are a viewer, a subscriber, a plant foldy that is going to be attending the PlantCon 2025 in Orlando, Florida, please send me a direct message on Instagram. That's really my one social media that I use. I don't really have a Facebook, so if you want to meet up, you can see that. And yes, I will be I will be face on when it comes to Orlando. You will definitely see my face. I won't be walking around with a silly mask. And it's still quite interesting how some people are demanding that I show my face on my YouTube channel. And it's really interesting. Like I said again, plant foldies, it's one of those things where when you start to go on social media platforms, sometimes people feel entitled to demand certain content or how you structure your content. And everybody's entitled to their own opinions. What I do find interesting as well is with this community, we are you guys are definitely supportive of the direction I go with my plant content, and I really appreciate that. But as far as PlantCon, please say hello. I will be wearing my Grow Folds t-shirt, so I will be easily recognizable. It's pretty easy to find me anyways. I mean, even when I am filming at a big box store and I start talking to people that are just shopping for plants, I've been recognized clearly because of my voice, so I thought that was kind of interesting as well. But you can see right here, this Lowe's is quite stocked. I'm looking for some new trending tropical plants, so we're gonna see if they've released some here. But what I do see is Costa Farms has released quite a bit of Epipremnum aureum or Pothos plants. You can see that is a lemon meringue Pothos, and I did want to go highlight a couple of plant products that I would recommend for your plant collection, for your plant care. The Alaska fertilizer, that fish fertilizer, is amazing. It really does help boost the growth of your plants. Anything organic of that nature. I do have some new succulents and that I'm looking for some supplements or fertilizer to use, so I might try that Dynamite succulent fertilizer. You already know I live by Super Thrive. Super Thrive is a B vitamin supplement that you can use for your plants. You can use it when you are repotting plants or when a plant is really just stressed or dehydrated. That's one way to really rejuvenate them. That one is for $14.98. And then obviously there's plenty of Miracle Grow fertilizer. Miracle Grow, some people have different opinions about it. I would tell you from my experience, especially just using the Miracle Grow all-purpose fertilizer, it is very effective. I've been using it for years. I have no issues. I think Miracle Grow fertilizers are great. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and show you even more Costa Farms plants here. So these are all self-watering planters. This one is a Philodendron Birkin. Some people will call this the Philodendron White Measure. I'm not really sure if they're the same type of philodendron or if the White Measure has higher striping variegation. Again, plant foldies, feel free to chime in and leave into the comment section below. I love any comments you guys put into the comment section. I always ask though that we comment and be mindful about the commentary we put in social media. Be respectful. I mean, I am open to feedback. I definitely am, but definitely open that discussion in a way where it becomes positive and it really resonates to the rest of the community. But as you can see right here, beautiful Aglaonema Maria. That is a green plant. And when you talk about plants that are underrated, not only are certain plants underrated because of the genus, but even the color. So unless the plant is variegated, unless the plant has some really unique pink variegation or color, the green plants just don't get as much love. And to me, the green on plants is really the OG. It is going to have the plant that is going to be the most vigorous and the probably the easier plant to take care of. With all of these new hybrids, with all of these new variegation, with all of these new tissue cultured plants, it's kind of challenging to keep up with all of the new varieties. But what I will tell you is this whole table right here of Dracaena, I think this is a Dracaena Dorado for $12.98 in a 6-inch planter. This is another Costa Farms plant that I would recommend. Dracaenas in general, I feel like people kind of associate them as more of like a business corporate office type of display plant versus a plant that you would put in somebody's plant collection at home. I love Dracaenas. I mean, look at how gorgeous that green is. And again, with Dracaenas, they are a little bit more low light tolerant and they're definitely drought tolerant. In terms of pest, I would say Dracaena could be potentially susceptible to mealybugs, but other than that, they're really hardy plants. They're very durable plants, and you can see that they come in many different varieties. Some of them are more compact than others. Like you can see right here, this one is, I believe, a Dracaena Lemon Surprise. $12.98. I love the neon colors on this, and this is just another plant that I would recommend. Anybody who is starting a houseplant collection, for those that have discovered this shopping video, just know that when it comes to certain easy care plants, I'm going to recommend them to you. This is definitely a plant I would recommend for any beginner that is wanting to start a plant collection, or just a beginner easy to care for plant that is also cost effective. And that's the thing about shopping. We want to make sure that we are making financial decisions that are responsible. It's easy for all of us to go into a rabbit hole and just buy it all, right? You want to go just consume and buy it all. The problem is, yes, you might be able to afford to buy plants, but at the same time, what happens when you have more than 200 plants and you don't have time to water the plants, or there's just not enough space? And it's interesting because I've been in that situation. I would say that I'm slightly in that situation. I am thankful that I've made better decisions in terms of, being intentional about some of the plants that I want to collect. And when you talk about bargains or easy plants, this one is another Hydra helix, or what you call a garland ivy. And if you notice, these are the clearance plants at Lowe's. So Lowe's typically has clearance plants. And the thing about clearance plants, aka 911 Let Rescue Me plants, you can find them in positions where these plants haven't really declined in health. The only drawback about getting a plant that's on clearance is the higher probability that the plant is either going to have some plant pests, and when you take it home, it could potentially bring more plant pests to your home. Yes, you are saving money by getting these plants, for instance, for 50% off, but there is a acclimation period, a recovery period, a rehabilitation period for any of these clearance plants. And I do want to eventually go and do an episode where I go shopping for plants at a big box store and pick out a rescue plant. I want to show you the steps on what you should do when you buy a plant. But I'll tell you, say you buy this Hydra helix. This one is the Spear Point Hedera helix. Beautiful plant. You can see that it's got a little bit more narrow leaves. What I would do if I buy a plant from this shelf with all of the Rescue Me plants or the clearance plants is definitely invest in buying systemic granules. So it's like little granules that are pesticides that you can put on the top of the soil, or you can repot the plant and get rid of the soil with fresh new soil. Definitely spray it with insecticidal soap or neem oil spray. That way you can get rid of any potential pests. And I would quarantine the plant for at least 3 to 4 weeks away from your main plant collection. Like if you have a plant room like me, I have one room dedicated to like my 100+ plants. I wouldn't necessarily just put that plant in there. And here's an interesting tidbit as well, plant foldies. I feel really chatty today, but whenever I go shopping and do plant content, whenever I film videos like this, when I get home, I definitely don't go around my plant collection. I'll go to the shower and make sure that I clean myself up before I get myself around plants, because this is the kind of weird part about plant pest is, say you're at a big box store, I picked up this Hydra helix or this Asterix ivy. This Asterix ivy might have spider mites. The spider mites might actually get onto my hands. The spider mites might actually get in our hair. They're very microscopic, and that's really how you start plant infestations in your plant pests. Don't want to make anybody feel paranoid, because clearly that's not always going to be the case. But for somebody like me who has quite a bit of plants in my plant collection, I have to be very mindful, very cautious, and very diligent about, or not diligent, but also vigilant about making sure that I keep my pests at bay. Otherwise, it could really destroy a plant collection. Now, as far as this Exotic Angels plant by Costa Farms, this one is an Janet Craig compacta, a green plant, a plant that's super easy. It's another plant that as it gets larger, it does become a little bit taller, but it stays compact at the same time. Now, this one is another Palea. This is a Palea Dark Mystery, and I love dark foliage plants. Plea plants are plants though that are needing to be a little bit more on the moist side. They definitely don't like their soil to dry out completely for too long, otherwise they decline in health. And that's the thing I've identified with the certain plants that I'm going to add to my collection or grow, is they have to be a little bit more drought tolerant, because I don't have the schedule to continue to water my plants consistently. Now this is one of my favorite Hydra Helix, or what you call the Hedera Helix. Again, this one is the Hedera Helix Wonderful. What a wonderful ivy, beautiful variegation, and even the shape of the leaves are really nice. But that's the reason why I have been converting a lot of my indoor plants into semi-hydroponic substrates. And what I mean by that is I'm utilizing, instead of growing them in soil, I have moved them, a lot of my Aglaonema, for instance, from soil to leca, or if I'm able to get a hold of lechuza pond, I would use that. But as you can see right here, plant foldies, I'm going to pan away and show you how large this area is. And this is kind of like a greenhouse vibe when it comes to this particular Lowe's. And you can see that Costa Farms has a bunch of these Spathiphyllum or peace lily, $15.98. It's another easy to care for plant in terms of the low light tolerance that a Spathiphyllum has. Like, you can literally grow this in a bathroom, for instance, without any windows, and it will do just fine. That low light condition, it's able to tolerate it. The only problem with Spathiphyllum, or what you call peace lily, is that they're very thirsty plants. So for instance, if the soil dries out completely for too long, it literally looks like it's wanting to knock on the gates of plant heaven, because the leaves will start to droop. But after you water it, it will perk up within like 30 minutes. It's really what you call a dramatic plant. There are certain plants that I would call drama queens. Spathiphyllum is one of them. Calatheas are definitely the divas and most dramatic of all the plants that I could possibly say. And I hate to say that, because I feel like I'm constantly saying something to discourage people from getting calatheas, but it's one of those things where I would rather suggest and get you into the right direction on plants that are going to be a little bit easier to care for. Because if you end up sending a plant to plant heaven, for instance, it's just a little bit discouraging. Now, I have seen these Aglaonema. So these are called Aglaonema two-tone moonstone or moonshine, however you say it, but these are Costa Farms trending tropical plants. What is a little bit disheartening is it looks like some of these Aglaonema have either been overwatered and they're starting to decline in health. If these were actually on clearance for 50% off, I would buy them. I would legitimately rescue them. I would take them out of that soil substrate and actually put them in leca, and even gift them to other plant foldies that are out in the DFW market. But the number one plant that I love to grow, I can definitely consider myself an Aglaonema collector. I have over 50 varieties of Aglaonema. I also love philodendron, and you can see right here, this is labeled as a philodendron pink princess, $19.84. But the thing about it is, this one doesn't really have a lot of pink variegation. And as I've said in many of my videos, the initial genetics of a philodendron pink princess is what's gonna really dictate whether you get high variegation, low variegation, or no variegation. Lighting isn't necessarily gonna push out more pink. Now, as far as lighting, we're going to look at this right here, $15.98. This is a Ficus lyrata, or a fiddle fig leaf tree. Mine is actually not being finicky at all. I ended up buying it on clearance, rescuing the plant at a grocery store for 99 cents. It was in a 6-inch planter. It only had one leaf, and now it's produced quite a bit. So as far as these plants, again, sometimes you luck out and find a really good bargain. Like, this is another gorgeous Aglaonema. I love the pink, but you'll notice that some of the leaves on Aglaonemas get a little mushy. That's fungus, and that's the one thing that I'm really learning about Aglaonema, is they like to be more so on the drier side. So I wouldn't really over soak your Aglaonema, otherwise you run into like root rot and fungal issues. So I did find a fungicide that I am going to be spraying my Aglaonema with. I'm pretty diligent though about spraying a lot of my plants with my neem oil spray. It's a DIY neem oil spray. It's super cost effective. It's easy to make, and as far as the recipe, I can send it to you if you send me a direct message on Instagram. Now, we do have some African violets here, and it's really interesting because people will say that African violets are really grandmother's plant. My grandmother, who is literally the source of all my plant shenanigans and plant love, she was the one that introduced me to plants at a very early age. She loves growing African violets. I do have 2 African violets that are doing very well for me. They're both variegated ones that I bought from a local nursery out in Fort Worth. And then as you can see right here, pink plants. Love the Syngonium. It's pretty compact. I don't know the specific plant ID for it, but it is only for $13.98. Plant foliage, you'll see that we have plenty of plants to choose from, but from urban jungle to live transplants. Live transplants, these are the self-watering planters for $14.98. Love this one. So if you don't want a large Aglaonema, if you want something to put on your desk or someplace that just has a small space that can that doesn't have the best lighting conditions, you can add this Aglaonema Silver Bay, and it's in a self-watering planter, which makes it even easier because you just have to fill the water reservoir and it will take up the water that way. You can see we've got some red Maranthas here, beautiful plants, just like Calatheas. However, Maranthas are a little bit more finicky. They need to stay a little bit more moist. You got to make sure you stay on top of the watering, and even the water quality is very important. Like oftentimes those types of plants will need better water quality, so you don't necessarily have to, you don't want to actually water it with just tap water or hard water. They prefer distilled water. Really, rainwater is the best for those types of plants. Otherwise, they may end up getting crispy brown leaves. And then you can see right here, I did want to show you the beautiful colors of these Phalaenopsis orchids, and I was able to find a grocery store that actually had some Phalaenopsis orchids on clearance for $2.80. So definitely watch out for that plant shopping video that I will be premiering sometime next week. It is quite interesting that the places that you'll find plants, it's for a really good price you wouldn't expect. And I did want to show you this. So this is another planter, a clear plastic planter that I would use if I were going to put a plant in semi-hydro. Like if I was going to put it in leca, that would be a good catch pot to put into a water reservoir planter. And then you can see right here we have some large Majesty palms. I rarely hear anything about anybody collecting Majesty palms. Palms in general are just a little bit more challenging to grow. They require quite a bit of light, but also the space conditions. And then as you can see right here, we do have a bunch of lucky bamboo, also known as a Dracaena sandriana. So really, these are not legitimate bamboo that you would see in bamboo forests. These Dracaena sandriana, however, are considered lucky charm plants. And this one right here, I saw this the last time I was shopping at this Lowe's. You can see that this is a beautiful Monstera celtipicana, or what you call the silver a Monstera, beautiful plant. It almost reminds me of an Epipremnum pinnatum that is in a hanging basket for $20.84. And look at that trellis, like look at how this is trailing, and you can actually take that vine, and if you really wanted to propagate this, you can take several cuttings and have multiple plants to propagate in water. And that's another thing about plants. I think certain plants I gravitate to because of the potential of plant propagation, being able to multiply your plants, being able to create more life to share. I say that if you are on a budget, if you are looking to save money on plants, doing plant trades or having somebody propagate plants or acquiring plant propagations from friends is a good way to grow your plant collection without having to spend money. That's a good way to budget your money, and that's something that I have done in the past, where I have just propagated my plants and I was super satisfied. If you're going to ask me if I would be satisfied with a whole room of golden pothos or marble queen pothos from plant propagations, I definitely would say yes, because it's inexpensive, they're easy to care for, and it's always interesting to see plant cuttings take root, especially in water. Now, this is a plant that I eventually want to add to my plant collection, and these are bromeliads. And bromeliads, they tend to be plants that are readily available at big box stores. When I was initially doing my plant shopping videos, I used to ask our viewers what the ordeal was, why there were so many bromeliads. Was there a high demand? And I didn't really find them interesting, but the more I look at their foliage, like for instance this one, I find them beautiful. There's always something interesting about plants, and really taking a second glance on it. Sometimes plants don't always give us the best first impression, but for me, the more you take time to look at the nuances of the plants, whether it's the texture of the leaves, the shapes of the leaves, the growth habit, or even just the availability of plants, I think our aesthetics or the way we gravitate to plants, it kind of changes the narrative a little bit. And that's the thing I would say about even bromeliads. Like, I love the striping, I love the pinks, I love the textures of the leaves. That's something I can appreciate. I was not a big fan of bromeliads, but as I really did take time to look at some of the colors, for instance, like this one is absolutely stunning. This doesn't even look like a real plant. It looks like somebody took some spray paint and spray painted colors on it, but it is definitely a very beautiful plant here. And for those that actually grow this type of bromeliad, leave it in the comments section what your plant care tips are, just like how I give you guys plant care tips. And I appreciate those that have actually found value, that have actually learned about some plant care tips from me. Thank you. It makes me feel honored that I'm able to at least share a little bit of my knowledge to grow your plant collection and really just educate people on plant care tips. I'm not really a expert when it comes to that. I really speak from experience or lessons that my grandmother gave me. And I'm really excited because my grandmother, I am blessed to have, her birthday is coming up soon this month, and she will be 90 years old, 9 decades old, or more so 9 decades wiser than the average person. And I'm really thankful for that. If you haven't seen some of the plant content I have done with my grandmother, I think that's really the favorite type of content I like to create, is one that I can really just speak to her. I'm just really excited that she is really of sound mind, health, and she attributes a lot of her longevity, her health, her mental health from just growing plants. I mean, the fact that she's always mobile, she's walking around, she's tending to her plants, even just the visual aspect of plants or having them around to where they're clean, keeping the air clean. I do believe my grandmother, and that's the reason why I strive to have my plants surround me. Yes, there might be some negative things that could happen with plants, like for instance, plant addictions, where you're literally spending all your money on plants that are not necessarily plants that you need to add into your collection. But the benefits of like looking at a plant like this, like looking at that beautiful red and even the texture of the leaves, that there is a lot to be said about that. And I believe that plants in general are great for your mental health. It's definitely great for mindfulness. It's just definitely great to have any type of greenery. And the key word is plant foldies. Again, it is about green, not always having to search for that variegated plant or that plant that is super rare or expensive. You know, whenever you slap a really high price tag on a plant, I do believe that it just increases the plant's popularity because it becomes more unattainable. But what about this plant right here, this Epipremnum aureum golden pothos, right? This is such an easy to care for plant, and this one looks pretty established in its pot already. Easy to care for plant, one that you can propagate as well, one that you can grow in many different types of substrates. Same thing with this Costa Farms Dracaena Dorado, for instance. This one is for $5.98 in a 3-inch planter by Costa Farms, and I love that Costa Farms has so many little starter plants, exotic angel plants. You know, my wish is, as I do these shopping videos, especially for the local plant foldies, for those that live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, hopefully it gets you guys excited to go out and buy some of these plants from the big box stores, because clearly they're available. And you know, all of these plants unfortunately don't always make it into a home. A lot of them end up going to plant heaven, and hopefully, you know, I get people inspired. And that's interesting because for those that don't live in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you guys have mentioned that these big box stores that I shop at are actually super full. I am very fortunate. I don't take that for granted at all when it comes to the plant community in Dallas. It is a very strong plant community. There's so many places to go buy plants, which makes it a very competitive market. But if you're gonna ask me, my recommendations outside of just the big box stores like Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart, Target, I would definitely go to my favorite plant shop in Dallas, and that is Peta's Planters. It's a small business. You know, I always encourage folks to shop small, support local businesses, even if we do have these big box store plants like this one right here. Beautiful Syngonium, love the pink, $16.98. But I tend to plug Peta's Planters because I've gotten to know Peta and her fiance David. They've always been kind to me. They've actually provided the home for Cultivation Corner Plant Podcast. They allowed us to have their space to when we were initially creating our podcast, and I would just love to see Peta's Planters grow even further. You know, it's all about growth, right? If we're growing plants, but we also want to have plants grow us as individuals. And I'm really excited for those that are going to be tuning into the Cultivation Corner Plant Podcast Season 2. Again, February 18th, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, U.S. time. I hope you guys have already taken the time to subscribe to the Cultivation Corner YouTube channel. And I'm going to call out some of the plant foldies. There's literally 11,700 of y'all subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'm so thankful for that. But can we also bring 11,700 plant foldy subscribers to support the Cultivation Corner YouTube channel? We only have about 300 subscribers, so we're hoping we can get to the 1,000 mark soon. But again, to go back to the plants here, this Lowe's location definitely is a Lowe's location that tends to stay pretty stocked. And that's one of the things, though. Not all big box stores are going to be created equal, nor do they remain stocked. This one has always been consistent for me. And so whenever I have the urge to actually, want to buy a Costa Farms plant, for instance, I would take the travel to go to Plano, Texas, to this specific location to pick up plants. Things that I like to see are, philodendron moonlight, for instance. Now, this is an example of sun stressing where this particular philodendron moonlight got a little bit too much light to where the coloration is a little bit different. But needless to say, it's still a pretty healthy looking plant. And then we have another Aglaonema. This is an Aglaonema white rain. I actually have one of these as well that I bought from Home Depot in a 10-inch planter for like $22.98. So I got a really good price for it. But look at how beautiful this Aglaonema is. The only problem is you can see some of the fungus type stuff going on with the leaves. I would definitely cut those off. I would definitely clean the leaves. That way that fungus wouldn't really spread. And that's the only drawback I would say with Aglaonema, is they're susceptible to that. And as you can see right here, there is another clearance rack with plants here. And I have to ask the plant foldy. So this is an Aglaonema spathonema. 50% off. So originally it's $19.96. Should I rescue this Aglaonema spathonema? Like, this is another one of those Aglaonemas that is pretty uncommon to find even at a big box store. Like, literally, this is the only Lowe's location in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that I've seen an Aglaonema spathonema, and you don't typically see that. This is a Costa Farms trending tropical plant. There's 2 of them. Should I rescue these Aglaonema spathonema? Let me know in the comments section below. And I did want to put this out again. I mentioned this in a lot of my most current videos, but if you ever want to send a monetary tip to support any content creators on YouTube, there is a term called the super fan sticker or super thanks sticker. You can actually drop any type of monetary tip using the by pressing the $ button on the right hand bottom corner, or you can even do that during a live premiere chat. Perhaps if somebody drops a super sticker, I might end up just buying this plant, because like somebody said, yes, funds are always going to be low, but we still have to rescue the plant. I suppose so. I'm really tempted to buy the plant, but I might have to hold off on that. And then you can see right here, this one is a Hydra Helix, or another English ivy, if you want to call it that. I like to say Hydra Helix though. That one is actually full price for $16.98. And then we also have some more Aglaonema golden fluorites, or what you call golden papayas here. Now you can see that when it comes to an Aglaonema, they start to really decline in health and get very leggy. And they're another plant that I'm tempted to purchase as well. But a lot of these plants are really on the last leg of their journey in terms of the journey of life. I feel like a lot of them are really knocking on plant heaven's gate. But there are, possibilities to save some of these. Like you can see right here, this one's not a bad looking Dracaena Janicred compacta, but it looks like it's still full price for $13.98. I would hope somebody might end up buying the plants. And then you can see over here, these are really unfortunate. I hate seeing Aglaonemas just really decline in health, and part of me feels like these were just overwatered. And you can tell an Aglaonema is overwatered because the lower leaves start to get really mushy. That's a sign of root rot. So I would always say be more on the drier side of Aglaonema. And that's the reason why, for me, aside from the beautiful colors in the foliage of Aglaonema, I tend to gravitate to Aglaonema because they're easy to care for plants and don't require a lot of water. Like this one right here, the soil is bone dry, but the plant is not declining in health. It actually probably prefers to stay on the drier side. Again, plant foldies, should I rescue this Aglaonema spathonema? Let me know in the comments. I would say if somebody just dropped a super sticker, super thank, 100% I would drive back and buy that Aglaonema spathonema, rescue it, and even make a conversion video moving it from soil to semi-hydroponic leca. So let me know, plant foldies. Again, don't feel obligated to drop a super sticker if you aren't able to. It's literally just an option that I let certain people know in case they were not aware of it. But as far as the plants, again, lots of Costa Farms plants. Costa Farms is everywhere, and I do want to get an Epipremnum pinnatum Baltic Blue. This is one of those Epipremnum pinnatums that will actually fenestrate without having to be on a pole. Fenestrating means that the leaves start to split, make holes, etc. And I think it's really nice. One of my favorite plants is a Philodendron Hederaceum Neon. Look at how gorgeous this is. I love yellow neon colored plants. Pink plants, yellow neon colored plants, dark foliage plants, those are legit one of my favorite types of colors for plants. This one does require a little bit more bright light in order for it to really remain neon yellowish. Otherwise, it tends to get a little bit more green. And then you can see right here, $16.98 in a 6-inch planter. This is a Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil classic plant. It's a pretty good grower as well. I wouldn't say it's as fast as an Epipremnum aureum, but Philodendron Hederaceum Brazil, you can grow it as a hanging basket, or if you grow it up a totem pole or moss pole, the leaves can get really large as well. And this plant right here is a Cupid's peperomia. I like it. The only thing is I feel like it's very prone to getting leggy. It just looks like a very delicate plant that you can like snip off a branch, but you know, it's a beautiful plant. Love the variegation on it. This one is for $20.84. When you touch the leaves, it feels more like a succulent. So a lot of the peperomias are very much succulent-esque in how it grows. And then you can see right here another beautiful Monstera celtipicana. Love this plant. I actually have one, and what's interesting about this plant is it actually has pretty high drought tolerance. Like, I wasn't able to water the Monstera celtipicana for more than a month, and it didn't get really crispy or anything of that nature. So it's a very forgiving plant. Now, as far as this particular Monstera, I'm curious to see if it actually will get larger leaves and fenestrate if you actually put it on a pole or a moss pole or some type of plank to give it some support. I'm just gonna walk over here and show you some more of these neon colored plants. You can see that the daylight is starting to really sink, so the lighting is not necessarily the best. But as far as this right here, urban jungle plant, $19.84. This is an Epipremnum aureum neon pothos, my favorite type of pothos by far. And then you can see we have some more urban jungle ceramic planters. This is a philodendron hederaceum neon. So you can see there's that neon philodendron hederaceum and then the neon pothos. The neon pothos is a lot faster at growing than the philodendron hederaceum, but I am curious, plant foldies, which one do you prefer, the philodendron hederaceum neon or the neon pothos? Please leave that in the comment section below. And then you can see over here, $15.98. We've got some gorgeous Spathiphyllum. One thing I will say is if you've made it this far into the video, really appreciate that you've stayed engaged and you're watching this video all the way through. And if you haven't had a chance already, plant foldies, please take the time to press the thumbs up or like button for this video. It definitely helps push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself. And I did want to say, what I did discover is some of y'all are actually subscribed to the YouTube channel, but I would definitely move your subscribe status from personal notifications to all notifications. So whenever I upload a video, you are already in the know and it will give you that notification. I've noticed that sometimes, especially with my non-plant shopping big box store videos, you may not always get that put on your feed. So please double check if you are subscribed with all notification bell on. Now, as far as all of these exotic angel plants right here, you can see that Costa Farms tends to churn out quite a bit. You can see this is a Photonia here. It's also known as the nerve plant, and it's just got beautiful pink veining. I am super tempted to buy a Photonia plant, but the problem is they need a little bit more water, and I can't really keep up with it. Now, you can see this is another Aglaonema spathanema. This one obviously is full price because it's a little bit more full. Beautiful green on green variegation. It almost reminds me of like a narrow form philodendron Rio, hederaceum Rio. Beautiful plant, and you can see that this is a green plant, but you've got green on green variegation. For an Aglaonema, this one has more narrow leaves and it tends to grow a little bit taller, and that's the thing about Aglaonema. There's so many different varieties and hybrids. It'd be interesting to see if this got crossed with, say, a more round leaf Aglaonema that's pink, what you would get out of it. The thing about hybridizing Aglaonema, it's a very tedious and time-consuming plant process. But as far as like some of the Indonesian hybridizers, they have really come up with some great hybridization when it comes to Aglaonema. Now, if you are interested in buying Aglaonema, and they're not the common varieties, I would recommend going to www.greenspaces.id. It is an Indonesian nursery, but I have received several shipments of Aglaonema and other plants from them. I've done unboxing videos. Definitely check out my most recent unboxing video. I will sum it up. If you're ever going to buy plants from overseas, do not have the shipper ship them during the colder months of the year. So December, January, and even February, it's very risky because your plants might even get some cold damage, and you'll just have to watch my Green Spaces unboxing video to see what I mean. But here's another Hydra Helix. That one is a wonderful Hedera helix ivy. Love the variegation in the shape of the plant. I may end up getting another English ivy at some point this year. I just haven't had the best luck. You know, I've sent 14 English ivy to Plant Heaven, and I really want to stop sending them to Plant Heaven. I just really want them to live with me symbiotically and just, you know, in peace. But you know, they're just a really finicky plant. They just tend to get spider mites, and I don't want to add any more spider mites to my plant collection by any means, because that is a really challenging plant pest. And then you can see right here, love this croton red banana. Look at the foliage. Look at how it's got reds, oranges, and dark colors, greens. You know, crotons, it's so interesting. It's a Southeast Asian plant, but it tends to be a seasonal plant in the fall. It tends to be more available during the colder months. And I'll tell you, crotons, they hate the cold. They will drop their leaves very quickly in the cold. I love that neon pothos, and when you put it right next to the golden pothos, it really just shines and stands out. And I'm just going to keep walking around and showing you some more of these exotic angel plants. Let me know in the comment section, again, Plant Foldies, what you think, if you've actually bought exotic angel plants by Costa Farms. I do think that they're pretty cost effective. So, you know, if you want to start a small plant collection, you can buy smaller plants like this to start off before you start delving into larger leaf plants.
You just want me crying over you, thinking about you.
You can see there was just a lot of exotic angel plants. I love the variegated teardrop peperomia. This is another plant that I see from Costa Farms that ends up being in a hanging basket. Love the lime green that this plant has. This is another, plant that, as far as peperomias, they're really easy to care for. And then you can see this is a beautiful Palea Pan Am. And just look at that dark foliage right there. Now this, as far as a Palea, is actually pretty durable. I've had this plant in the past. You just got to stay on top of the watering, but in terms of the texture and just the dark foliage, absolutely stunning. And it's also very easy to propagate through plant cuttings. This one is for $8.98 by Costa Farms. So we're just going to keep looking at a couple of plants before I end this plant shopping video. You can see right here, this is a Hydra Helix, or the Hedera Helix Florida. This is a Florida ivy, and this is the first time I've really seen these readily available. Like literally, I've only seen this year. I love the shape of the leaf. It's really pointy. It's got a very unique shape, and it's just a nice green ivy. Love that a lot. And then we're just gonna keep looking at some more of these plants right here. I'm just gonna keep picking them up and showing you what they have available. And you can see right over here, we have some urban jungle plants and also live transplants on this end cap. This is a gorgeous Alocasia cuprea. Really love the look of that as well. And just look at how dark the leaves are. If I had Lechuza upon, I would definitely buy this for $13.98. Take it out of soil and convert it into semi-hydro. Like I said again, plant foldies, if you want to simplify your plant care, try moving your plants from soil to semi-hydro, because then you don't have to necessarily worry about watering the plants on a consistent basis, because there is a self-watering wick that pulls that water into the substrate, whether you're using Lechuza pon or leca. And then you can see right here, urban jungle plants. Love this terracotta look actually for $13.98. This one is just a peperomia variegata. Love a variegated peperomia, beautiful plant. And I'm just going to keep picking up some of these plants that they have available. This is an Epipremnum aureum Enjoy Pothos for $13.98. Really like the combination of a terracotta planter with a shiny glaze. Love pothos plants. Now these smaller foliage pothos plants tend to grow a lot slower than the large foliage pothos plant. And then this is another beautiful Alocasia. This is another Alocasia dragon scale for $13.98. And like I said again, urban jungle is really packing in some gorgeous Alocasia. But you know, for me, as tempting as it is to purchase these Alocasias, I'm gonna hold off from buying any until I can get the correct substrate that's gonna work for me long term, which would be a Lechuza pon. I've been checking Amazon daily to see if Lechuza pon is going to be in stock. Unfortunately, it's not. And I did want to show you these new planters by Live Transplanter, 6-inch planter. You can see that this one is for $24.98. Philodendron heteroraceum Brazil. Beautiful plant, easy to care for, and it's just another plant that would be very stylish. I love the pink planter. And you can see we've got a Monstera deliciosa juvenile form. And I'm just going to finish this video off by showing you these colorful bromeliads and these hanging baskets right over here. Again, plant foldies, let me know in the comments section what you think of our plant selection at this Lowe's location in Plano, Texas. You can see Urban Jungle has this planter full of neon pothos. Beautiful plant. That is another one that I would definitely recommend in anybody's collection. Just be mindful that it does require quite a bit of light. So plant foldies, let me know what you guys think about this shopping video today. I know that I've been giving you guys quite a bit of commentary, whether it's plant commentary, personal life commentary, or just commentary in general. Hopefully you are still enjoying this type of format, and hopefully I've inspired y'all to go big box store plant shopping, or even shop PetasPlanters.com. She is now shipping those gorgeous Aglaonema and other plants in the US. So definitely support that small business. We really want to see the plant foldies go full force. And I did want to say recognition to Angelique. She was the first plant foldie to ever buy anything off of PetasPlanters.com. She got a planter and some Aglaonema. Y'all let me know what your Aglaonema look like from Petas Planters. But as far as these plants, like, I would love to grow a red marantha, but I've tried it in the past. They're just plants that I have to just admire whenever I go big box store plant shopping. I think that's the best alternative to saving money, is just going window big box store plant shopping. Just admire the plants. You know, there's certain plants here that I've seen growing in this actual specific Lowe's location for months, and I am there for it. And you can see they've got a Dieffenbachia right here, Dieffenbachia maculata. Look at that light foliage, beautiful plant. And then we also have some Dracaenas, and then we've got some Phalaenopsis orchids right over here. So plant foldies, hopefully you have enjoyed today's shopping video. Let me know what plants you are looking for, and as always, please make sure you are pressing the thumbs up or like button for this video. It'll push this content out to more plant lovers like yourself, as well as subscribing to my YouTube channel at Grow Folds for daily 1-hour plant shopping videos. This is Richie. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.